Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lyds, and we're back for some more Thronebreaker, and today we are going to see if we can figure out what these strays of Smaller are up to, because they are apparently causing some trouble in town. So, without further ado, let's jump in on the action.
The bandits had pitched camp in a nearby wood. Spirits buoyed by the wine they'd stolen from the cloister cellar, the brigands had not posted sentries.
Another round! To the sisters!
Meve's soldiers were eager, insistent. The desecrators would be punished. Yet only the queen could order the assault.
I'm assuming that's where we come in. Alright, so we can order our force to attack the bandits, or we can just withdraw and move on? Come on, I mean, we gotta attack the bandits, right?
High time we put these strays on a leash.
It's high time.
The queen, spurring her horse.
To arms! Follow me!
Tankards clattered to the ground as the strays reached for their weapons. The brigands would not even fathom giving up without a fight.
Of course not. Alright, let's see. So had the brigands chosen to hide in the dense forest to station a guard, this battle might never have come to pass, and they might have slipped away with their prize. Alas, they were drunk on victory and confidence. Or perhaps the gods, thirsty for vengeance on the blasphemers, had dulled their vigilance? Oh, interesting. Okay, so there actually is a special rule set here. So we need to prevent 3 gold wagons from escaping, and it is a shortened battle, which I assume means just 1 round. So despite this technically still being a battle, it perhaps borrows a bit from the whole puzzle theme that there is an alternative objective here. So let's get started and let's see what that's all about. Okay, yeah, the battle will last only 1 round, gotcha. At the beginning of a round, you can redraw up to 6 cards. Get rid of the cards from your hand that you don't wish to play. Alright, so this is interesting. Is this really the first time we've had the chance to do this? This is very common in multiplayer Gwent. In that case, it's usually at most 3 cards that you can switch, not as much as 6. But that is, okay, helpful for sure. And so, what I'm thinking about here is that if we are trying to prevent wagons from leaving, how do we do that? How do we achieve that objective? Because I would think that, if we're, like, destroying them, then we would presumably want damage, not boosting. So that would mean cards like Lyrian Scytheman may not be a great idea, whereas cards like the Lyrian Arbalest would be a lot better. So I'm thinking maybe we prioritize that, and then just as a reminder, we haven't really seen much of the Field Medic. Play a random ally from your graveyard. This is only 1 round. So that's kind of tough to make that work, but we could potentially, if they have damage, they might destroy some of our units, in which case we'd be able to bring them back that way. Alternatively, let's see, we have Rivian Pikemen, summon all copies of this unit. How many of them do we have, would be my other question. Because if we only have 1 other, then that's not really a big factor. If we have 10 others, then yes, it is. And if we hide cards, we should be able to take a look at our deck. So that's what we're seeing here, all the cards that are still in our deck. And we're looking for, how many other Rivian Pikemen do we have? We have any? I'm not seeing any right now. Are they both in our hand? They are both in our hand. So yeah, that's not great. That's really bad. So I think we probably dump those, and then Fortitude Tonic does give us a lot of points, boosting unit by 10, but again, if we're thinking damage is the way to go, then that doesn't help us at all. And I don't know if we still need to score more points than our opponent as well as stopping all those wagons, because this is technically still a battle, or is the only thing we care about stopping the wagons, then as soon as we do that, the whole match is over. Kind of more like a puzzle. Not entirely sure. Okay, we get Reynard. That could definitely help. Because presumably we play him next to... Oh, actually, the Arbalists are using deploy abilities, not order abilities, so Reynard does not reset them. So that's a bit of an issue. Still get rid of this pikeman. I don't think that helps much at all. Regiment Drummer playing a Blitz unit, the top Blitz unit from our deck. And, okay, Field Medic Support does not have the Blitz name on it. But almost everything else does. Fortitude Tonic doesn't either. I mean, it's not a unit, so that was never going to happen anyway. But, okay. I think we still probably get rid of the Lyria and Scytheman. That's another field medic. What I would really like would be some Wagenbergs, because that's a lot of damage there. So let's dump you. There is a Wagenberg. Okay, much better. And I think, oh, Lyria and Scytheman as well. We probably want to get rid of you two. And that's a lot of Regiment Drummers playing the top unit from our deck. And that's just a lot of unpredictability. So, it could be War Wagon, could be Caldwell. That'd be great. Another Arbalest. Wouldn't really want to be Lyria and Scytheman. Arbalest would probably be fine as well. Wiggenberg definitely good. To get one of those directly, though, that might be preferable. Then again, actually, with Regiment Drummer, we could use our leader ability, which is to move a card to the top of our deck, and that way we could guarantee what card that is that we're getting with the Regiment Drummer. So that's potentially worth considering. Maybe we stick with this setup for that reason. Although I'm a little bit nervous about going with this many field medics, just in case our opponent can't actually destroy that many of our cards. So let's try swapping one of them out. Okay, well, we got a Scytheman, and I don't want the Scytheman. Okay, so that's unfortunate. So, let's see. We go first here. And I'm thinking that maybe we go... I think we want to get a Wagenberg down quickly. Didn't we get one? We got a War Wagon. I thought we got another one. We did, okay. But what I'm wondering is maybe we go immediately with our leader ability. Move the other Wagenberg to the top. And then that way, if we play a Regiment Drummer, we should be able to get that Wagenberg out. We'll take a turn before we can. Because this is an order building, not a deploy building, but let's see. So there is a wagon. Oh, wow, okay. So they have a wagon. After 2 turns, it escapes. So presumably we need to destroy it before that happens. Then they dealt a lot of damage with Strays of Spala, but it was not enough to destroy the Regiment Drummer, so that's definitely helpful. So that means we should be able to get a Wagenberg out here. So I think we do that now. Oh, what? Does Wagenberg not have Blitz? Wagenberg doesn't have Blitz! No! Ah, we didn't double check that. Okay, well, so this is not super helpful in that case. Edit, undo? No? Okay. So be it, I suppose. Definitely, at the very least, if we'd known it was going to be Lyria and Arbalest, we would have very much preferred to have, say, gone War Wagon first to get more units out there on this row, so that way we would get more damage out of the Arbalest. At this stage, it's only going to be dealing 2 damage, which is not really what we're looking for here. But if we, say, go War Wagon next, spawn in a bunch of light infantry, that'll give us what? That'll be 3 more units, so we'd have 5 in total. And then that would mean playing an Arbalest would be 6 total units for 6 damage. That's still not enough to take out this wagon. That makes me a little nervous. I don't know how many wagons they have. We need to stop 3 of them. Do they have more than 3, or do we need to get all of them? And making one, missing on one is a game over. I'm not sure, but yikes. I think in that case, if we know this wagon is going to escape, we try to set up the Wagenberg. And so we play that early. And that way, it has time to gain more armor, so they can deal more damage. Okay, yes, that one's 1 turn closer to escaping. Oh, and then they played another Strays of Spala, which has enough damage to destroy that Wagenberg. But that is one of the reasons why I wanted to have a field medic. So that way we could play an ally from our graveyard. It's a random ally, but we have 1 ally in our graveyard, so we know it's going to be this one at this stage. So that might be the play here. Because I still don't think there's any way for us to make this work. To get rid of you before you escape, we would need 8 damage. And I just don't see that happening at the moment. So I think we do, in that case, go... Where are you? Field Medic?
Tell me you jest.
To get the Wagenberg back. So put that here. And yes, so that wagon did just escape. Oh, what? Okay, they moved a whole bunch of units to this other row, which is a bit of a problem because our arbalists can only hit cards that are 2 rows away, and that means if we were to play an arbalist here, it would only be able to hit their melee row, and it seemed like all those wagons were going in the range row. They actually don't have a wagon out there right now, though, so we might have a little bit of time to start setting up. Let's go with a war wagon here to get more units out there and start giving some armor to this Wagenburg. We can put something back at the top of our deck here, and I'm thinking we either want it to be Lyria and Arbalist for direct damage or Count Caldwell. Play him next to a couple of Lyria and Arbalists to, well, get a couple more of them. That's probably a little bit better. So I'm thinking, why don't we go with that here? So, where'd you go? Caldwell? And you do have Blitz. You do have Blitz, so this should work. Oh, and what is... Oh, damage a random enemy nearest to self by 2 on Loyal, which is whenever we use our leader ability. I honestly did not even see that that was there. So there is some additional value to Lyria and Arbalist. It's always going to be the closest unit, so unlikely we'd be able to get the wagons, assuming that they are always going to show up in the range row, as long as they have units in the melee row that'll take those hits instead. Okay, so there's another wagon.
Stick 'em up, high as the clouds, now!
Okay, after 3 turns, switch power with this unit's power. So again, I'm not sure how much power actually matters. Do we still need to score more points than them, or do we only care about the wagons? So I'm not sure. But anyway, I think what we're looking for here is we want to, of course, destroy this wagon. And we have, what? 1, 2, 3, 4 units out here at the moment. So if we play an Arbalist, that'll be 5. We need 10 damage total, so as long as they don't move anything, then that means going with Arbalist this turn and Arbalist next turn should be enough, and then we can continue to power up the Wagenburg, and that can be, hopefully, our strategy for the next wagon. So I think we give that a shot. Wagenburg gets stronger. We're going to keep these guys here. We want to have this be our crowded row. Oh, no, don't move us and deal damage. That messes things up. Okay, so our entire plan has been foiled. Because we no longer have enough damage with this Arbalist to destroy that plunder-filled wagon. Unless, okay, I mean, we could go with the Wagenburg. I was hoping we would be able to do that later on, but I suppose we could reset that using Reynard later on. So that's not the end of the world if we have to. I mean, it's still wasting quite a bit of damage here. The Arbalist plus Wagenburg. That's significant overkill, if you will. But I suppose we don't really have an alternative here. So we do that, and then we do this. So it's 1 wagon down. Here comes another.
You can pay the toll in one of 2 ways. In silver or in blood.
Okay, so how do we start getting our damage back? Because now Auto can give us charges back, but remember this is a deploy ability, not an order, so that doesn't count. So we can't get the Arbalist to do their thing. We are out of Arbalist here. So that means we kind of need to go Regiment Drummer to get can't be Wagenburg, because that doesn't have Blitz. I think we were saying to get Caldwell. Although we would have liked for it to have been 2 Arbalists next to each other, so we could double up on those, although after they moved Arbalists, that's no longer possible. So they have really messed us up here. So I think we don't really have a choice but to do this here, unless, let's just see, if we do auto, what do we get? We get the Wagenburg back, but it doesn't have armor. In that situation, we would still need to charge it back up. Would get... No, nothing from the War Wagon. Nothing from you. We would get Regiment Drummer. Reset. So I think we probably do go Regiment Drummer here.
Left,
Use its ability
right, left,
on our next
right.
turn, and then maybe we play Reynard so that we get more orders reset. Okay, there's the switch.
See if he's had any coin in his pockets. Or his owns.
Okay, so now I think we do this. Let's make sure. I think we did verify that we were going to get, what was it, Caldwell at the top, right? But we could double check by using our leader ability again here. Alternatively, if we really want to, we could go Arbalest instead. But let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Arbalest would be 6. Is not enough at the moment. Oh, tell you what we do? No, we go Regiment Drummer, get Caldwell, and then I think we put you here to get a War Wagon and an Arbalest.
Keep calm,
I would
Tiberius.
prefer... Oh, I would have loved if it was the other order of operations. So it would have given us more damage. I was kind of hoping it was going to go left and then right, but it did not. So we unfortunately did not luck out there. So we do this. Then we do... I think it's
You can
here.
try to win them all, but you won't.
And... Oh, man. But we... Oh, no, we've not yet played a card this turn. Okay, so we can still play Reynard. That was the plan. Okay, for a second I thought we were going to be able to. We would like to create space in the melee row for Lyria and Rivia, though. So what we do is we use our leader ability. And with that, we put an Arbalest at the top. And we'll get some extra damage from our existing Arbalest. It's actually somewhat significant at this stage. But now we want to make room for that Arbalest in this row. And now we play Reynard. And does it matter where we play you? Shouldn't. Let's
Discipline
keep room in our melee row. So the reason why we did this was so that we could get Regiment Drummer to reactivate this ability. So now we can do this, get that Arbalest out, and guarantee that we destroy you. Problem is, at this stage, we have just about run out of space. So we end our turn here, but we can't really do much at the moment unless you destroy something. That actually helped us. Otherwise, we were not going to be able to play anything. That would have been a pretty big problem. So let's see. Now what we're going to want to do is we are going to want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we don't have any room in our melee row at the moment, so let's move one of these infantry out. And then move this infantry in. We can do some switcheroos, which actually is significant. By switching some units back and forth, we can charge up this Wagenburg. That may be what we're looking for here, to tell you the truth. Or at least it'll help us. Make room in melee, that is important. Because now, what we really want is to be able to play... Oh, we don't have any Arbalists in our deck anymore. So we can't do the same thing we did before, using our leader ability to put one at the top and then activate a Regiment Drummer to bring it out and finish off this wagon. Oh man, we're so close to having enough damage, but we're not quite there yet. So we'd like to save the Wagenburg. I think what we do is we go with the Regiment Drummer here. Actually, what does... When Meve uses her leader ability, reduce her cooldown by 1. Move to the other row. Hold on. Whenever a card appears, doesn't need to be a unit. So we can get 1 more damage here. Then we can move you to create more space. Then we can put another Regiment Drummer down here. That gets us to 9. That means we're 1 away. Which would mean we would fill our row here.
Again and again.
So we need them to destroy a card so that we can actually do something on our next turn. So we want them to damage us. We want them to damage us here. Or at least do something to get rid of a card. They tried to play a card that would go on our side, but they didn't have room for it. So we still have a problem here. Our problem is we are 1 damage away from succeeding, and we don't have any space to play an additional card. So this is a problem. Yeah. So, I mean, we can try activating the Regiment Drummer. Is there anything at all we can do with it, though? It's going to give us the top Blitz unit, which is definitely a unit, right? So it's going to need space, and it's not going to have space, so it's going to get immediately destroyed. That doesn't help us. So, I mean, I guess we do this. We get 1 away, and then there really isn't much to be done here. We can't even put Wagenberg at the top, or at least we can, but it's not a Blitz unit, so it's not going to get selected by the Regiment Drummer. So, we do this, sure, for good measure, but I'm afraid it will not change anything. And Field Medic isn't either, so do that. Oh, but hold on! What our leader ability does give us a little bit more damage, but again, it hits the closest enemies first, and that's not the wagon. Oh man. Oh man, this is painful. We do this, there's no room for it. We do this, there's no room for it. And that means we do this. This gets destroyed. We have no option but to pass, with this last wagon escaping with 1 life. And so I believe that means... What? What? Excuse me? Was that a bonus objective? Is it, first and foremost, you want to win, and then secondly, you get additional benefit if you destroy all those wagons? I thought we just failed. So I have to... I assume that just the reason we won is because we got more points? I'm
The
confused.
Queen's company defeated the bandits and recovered the loot.
We did?
Silver chalices, reliquaries lined
I didn't think
with
we did.
mother of pearl, gold-embroidered robes.
The priestesses would be grateful to have their treasures returned, Your Grace. They would pray ardently for your victory.
Reynard opined.
Yet, you could also keep the silver, expend it on the war effort. And who's to say which, prayer or coin, would be more useful?
Oh, interesting question there. So, I suppose that means we either get the choice of getting gold for ourselves, or at least for us. It's going to turn into the gold resource, right? Which we were saying not long ago that we could definitely use more of. Alternatively, we give that to the priestesses, and what would we expect to get in return? I would think potentially better morale, potentially more recruits, although at least short term it seemed like gold was more important to us so that we could make more upgrades. So, personally, I don't love it, but I think we might actually be better served keeping the gold for ourselves here. Order the treasure to be returned, or keep the recovered loot. I think we're keeping the recovered loot. And, I mean, like I said, I'm surprised that we're getting anything, because I didn't think we... Or did we get some because we destroyed 2 of the wagons, but not all 3 yet? Not entirely sure how that worked.
Meve answered, after a moment's consideration. Then she ordered the Abbey's treasures loaded onto her wagons. As they went on their way over uneven ground, each clink and clank reminded the Queen that to save her realm, she had stolen from the gods.
Yeah. So it did say in the bottom left corner there, I didn't quite catch it in its entirety, but I thought it said you chose one evil over another. At first I thought it just said you chose the evil decision. I was like, oh, now you're just making me feel even worse about it. So, like I said, morally, definitely the wrong decision. But at least in terms of what benefits us the most, I think it probably is preferable. Oh, and it does lower morale. It's understandable. That is understandable. Let's see. We have other things we can loot here, though. I mean, the gold return was pretty good, though. It was pretty good, not gonna lie.
Bind a rabid dog, tie his 4 legs together, but you'll not stop him from lashing out and biting.
Okay. Anything else to say along those lines? I mean, he's committed.
You've
Give him
bested
that.
us, aye, but you'll not find the Duke of Dogs near as easy prey. Oh no!
Okay. Is that all? Thinking that's probably all. Not sure we're gonna get any resources from a bandit that we have captured. Let's see, we also have a little bit more stuff here. Oh, what is this? My dearest strays, once you've relieved the pious priestesses of their unnecessary baubles, make your way south to the escape of Lord Clayton. That might be our place where we have the main quest. Word's gone round, he's raised quite the sum for the dowry of his not-so-comely daughter. But can love truly be built upon a mound of coin? I think not. Let's save the poor lad from an unhappy marriage, shall we? Your Duke of Dogs, Earl of Mutts, High King of Huckleberries, His Trampy Highness, His Sparky Lordship. Alright, we get the point. Gee. Okay. Interesting stuff. Not entirely sure what to make of all that. It looks like there might be... Can we loot this? Is this something? The bottom of that tree, or is that just a rock? It was a very shiny rock that made me think we could loot it, but perhaps not. This right here? No, I don't think we can go all the way over there. So I suppose the answer to that question is no. Alright, so I would think we now head back to the priestesses, and, well, we're kind of just hoping that they aren't extremely mad at us for taking all the gold for ourselves. Hopefully they're grateful for us having taken care of all of the strays. Actually, this is... Hold on. I should go inside of the city area without a key. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. I meant the map. The map. Yeah, we can go straight in. I mean, this is where the priestesses were. This door, it was either blocked or locked something over here, so I was assuming that we needed to sort of win over their favor in order to gain access to it, but we could just waltz right on in, it seemed like. There's also loot there that we might have missed. So we'll check this out in just a minute. Oh, it's this, I bet? We'll check that out in just a minute. I think we'll talk to the priestesses to see what their reaction is to what we've done. And we will see if we can go in the main way after doing that. Or if not, then we'll just go around the side like that through the broken door. Broken wall. Oh, there is also... It's a big dragon over here. I think let's focus on finishing up what we were just doing, though. Let's talk to the priestesses and sort of tie a bow on that side quest, if you will. Then we can start thinking about, other things after that. Hold on. We're at 1,400. I think it was 1,500 is what we need for the next big upgrade that we were hoping for. So we're getting close, but I don't think we're quite there just yet. Let's see. Is this where... Yeah, this is where the priestesses were. So I assume you have something to say to us now.
Your judgment we leave to the gods, but they'll be swift with it, swifter than you think.
Yeah, they're not pleased. I was kind of hoping they'd still be somewhat grateful for us having taken care of the strays. I suppose, you know, we got rid of the bandits, but then we took the money. So, like, you know, are we any better than the strays? I mean, at least a little bit. I mean, we are the queen.
Priestesses? Why, you stolen from the gods, you have.
Yeah, I guess it was kind of stealing.
To steal from priestesses?
Yeah.
Why, stolen from the gods, you have.
Given all that, well... Like I said, I was imagining that we probably would have gotten some combination of a morale boost and recruits, and I figured that that was perhaps not as meaningful to us as just the gold, because we really needed the gold. We can pray here. Let's see. Your Majesty, the Priestess of Melitele implore you to leave an offering. Mother Goddess smiles upon those who bow before her altar, they say, and leave a gift of gold at her feet. So we can do that, and pay up, improve our morale, which is low at the moment, so something to be said for that. And we do also get a card scrap. Otherwise, seems to me the priestesses, not Melitele, shall gain most from my gold. No such sacrifice we cannot, or such a sacrifice we cannot afford. Yeah, are we actually giving the offering to the goddess, or are we just giving it to these priestesses and they'll take it for themselves? Maybe. I mean, I was just saying how we're getting close to a pretty significant gold threshold, so I'm a little bit reluctant to do this, but maybe to make up for our wrongs here, it's not a terrible idea. To be honest, though, the biggest thing is just that card scrap. I think long-term might be nice to have, so let's go for it. So we get, what, a third scrap. Wow. Yeah, or, well, a second out of what appears to perhaps be only 3 to finish this. I initially thought when we got this first one that it looked like this was maybe a quarter at best. So, might not take quite as long to finish that as I had initially expected it to take. Is there anything else for us to loot around here? Not that, you know, we're looking to steal coins from priestesses or anything, but yeah, just asking for a friend is all. Alright, so there is the dragon down there. That is probably an encounter that, you know, if we could make a point of getting an upgrade first, that'd be great. I'm curious if this person has anything mean to say to us now that we've been rather unkind.
Pray and pay homage to the gods. You shall be rewarded.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, like, we weren't exactly didn't exactly do the best thing for the goddess there. But let's see. So if we take a look at our map, we have this battle. That is, we now know that dragon over there. And although it's locked from this side, I think we can just loop around and get to it. I'm pretty sure we were able to access it from that side before. Let's double check before doing that. Can we make any more upgrades first? Because, I mean, we could definitely do something. It's more so just a question of the one that I was eyeing, this Herald Study. Yeah, we have enough wood. We do not have enough gold. We're kind of close, but after making that offering, it's now perhaps less likely for us to be able to do it before finding that dragon. Like, if we hadn't done it, we might have potentially been able to do a little bit more exploration around here, try to find other random pieces of loot strewn about somewhere. That might have been enough, but at this point, we'd probably have to travel high and low, far and wide, if we were to actually be able to make that happen, and that'd be a lot of backtracking. And, you know, so we could do it, yes, but at the end of the day, is it worth it? I mean, we get maybe a tiny bit more. We get one more recruit, and we get 25 to 75 more gold out of it. So, you know, it's a small difference, but we'll go for it now, I suppose. Just so that we aren't running all over the place. And so this one, we don't know of any other, or we haven't heard anyone mention this at all. In fact, I'm somewhat curious to see if perhaps if we had done things in a different order and gone to town down here first, maybe someone would have mentioned it. Maybe if we had been nicer to the priestesses, they might have asked us for an additional favor. But, I think we're just gonna go in here and we're just gonna treat this like it's a random battle, with perhaps just the only objective being score more points than your opponent. Hey, dragony dude that appears to be eating one of the priestesses. How's it going? Let's see. Is it not curious how priestesses so earnestly implore others to put their faith in the goddess's protection, yet surround themselves with walls? That is an interesting point. 9 feet tall, nearly 3 thick, made of solid stone. A better guarantee of safety than even the most fervent of prayers, no doubt. Given the area in which they chose to erect their temple, this was probably for the best. Alright, it's a standard battle. Gain more points in 2 out of the 3 rounds to win battle. Okay, it has been a long time since we just had a normal battle here. So no additional objectives to consider. And the full length. It's been a long time since we had 3 rounds as well. So let's see, we have lots of war wagons spawning in light infantry, so just giving us lots of units to help charge up things like the Lyria and Rivia. Reynard is big, for sure, and Fortitude Tonic for 10 power. I mean, it's something, but I'm not really sure this is one of our stronger cards, to tell you the truth. I think let's swap out Rivian Pikeman. And Lyrian Scytheman is probably a little bit better, assuming that we use our leader ability fairly often. And we can use our leader ability to set up the Regiment Drummer a little bit. So there's something to be said for that, although still not loving what we have going on for the Lyria and Rivia here. We'd like to have a little bit more support for them. I suppose War Wagon does help them, but a Wagenberg to go along with them would be fantastic. Let's try swapping you out, and there it is, okay? So I like that. Round 1 Field Medic is not great, because, I mean, our opponent would need to destroy something in order for us to be able to play something from our graveyard. It's not out of the question, but it's perhaps a little bit unlikely. So let's maybe try swapping you out, and I still don't really want to Rivian Pikeman. Okay, Arbalest, yeah, this gives us a lot of damage. I think I probably do prefer this. Let's give this a shot. Or even, I mean, if we're getting really greedy, we could see if we could get Caldwell. But we could potentially go with Pikeman plus leader ability to make that happen. So I think we're probably fine here. Okay, so let's see. What is their deal? Rabid Forktail. Permanent Resilience. After 4 turns on turn start, consume the lowest units. Okay, so that means that when they consume, they will eat a unit and boost itself by its power. So it is basically just absorbing the power from a different unit. If it's on the battlefield, destroy it. If it's in hand or deck, move it to the graveyard. If it's in the graveyard, remove it from the game. So it's consume the lowest unit. So right now that would mean a Harpy Egg. And Death Wish, spawn a Harpy, means that if this gets destroyed, then it will create a Harpy. So this is tricky. This is tricky. On this turn end, spawn 1 Harpy Egg. Okay, and I assume that's the one that we already see here. So, I mean, the ideal thing would just be to somehow find a way to immediately get rid of the Rabid Forktail. This is definitely the boss, if you will, of this whole encounter. So do we have enough damage to make that happen? It takes 4 turns, oh well, now 3 since they went first, to make that happen. Can we load up on enough damage to make that go away? I think we'd want to go Wagenberg first, and then we'd want to probably go War Wagon to just get as many units out there in that row as possible, and then Lyrian Arbalest plus Wagenberg might be enough. And I think that's the key here, is just if we can destroy this thing, we're going to be in really good shape. If we can't, we're going to be in serious trouble. So I think we go for this. And want to do leader ability now? I mean, I suppose so. Probably put Caldwell at the top. It will give us some points in the process because it strengthens that card by 3. Triggers our loyal abilities, and we don't have any loyal abilities at the moment, so that part's not a factor, but it does have cooldown, of course, so using it as early and often as possible is probably in our interest. Okay, so let's end our turn here. We really don't want them to be able to destroy this. That would be a big problem. Okay, then they have a Slizzard. Every turn on turn start, increase counter by 1 and damage a random enemy by 2. Ooh. So that can mess things up for our Wagenberg. I don't like that. Let's go War Wagon, though. Let's stick to our plan here.
You can try to win them all, but you won't.
Because we'd love... Let's see. Damage. Random enemy by 2. We'd love if you, say, hit the War Wagon. Is probably the one that we care the least about. We want to keep this armor. We want you guys to stay alive so that when we play Arbalists, we can deal more damage with them. Okay, but they got rid of one of the light infantry. Okay, bear in mind, when these get destroyed, they damage a random enemy unit by 5, so that is something. Okay, ooh, we're running out of time. Oh. Okay, so let's see. We can go War Wagon, would give us a total of 3 additional units out here. That would give us 6 total damage, which is not enough to destroy the Rabid Forktail. If we go... Ooh, what if we play... What if we use Wagenberg now, deal 3 damage to everyone in this row. Then we move the light infantry and play auto in this row. That'll give us 1 more from auto, 1 more after that from light infantry for a total of 5 damage. Still not enough to remove the rabid forktail. We're in trouble. We're in a lot of trouble. Oh dear. I think we still, in that case, we try to be a little bit more patient with auto. Try to set up a bigger auto, and that means that there will be at least one round of forktail pulling off this consumption, which does make me nervous. Oh, actually, can move this to that row. That would give us 1 more damage. Does that change the equation at all? If we do this, then that's 4 damage on here. Then we move light infantry, and we play auto, and move infantry back. That gets us up to 6 damage. It's more, but it's still not enough. I think we still go with the war wagon then.
Can't take it anymore.
Because it's still 6 damage, and it has better long-term potential when we do ultimately play auto. And they continue to get rid of light infantry, which is less than ideal. We definitely prefer them to hit war wagons. Although, lots of damage when those light infantry get destroyed, so there's at least that. Let's see. So now if we go with the Lyria and Arbalest, then we'll get 4 damage out of that. And that will make the Wagenberg have 7 damage, which is almost enough by itself for the forktail. Is there any way we could get... Oh, yes, we can make this work. Okay. What I want to do is I want to get the Wagenberg to destroy the rabid forktail, and then use the damage from the Arbalest to get rid of something else. So let's go... Banner moved in here to get that up to 7 damage. Then we go Arbalest here. And what other than the rabid forktail do we want to destroy? So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage coming from this Arbalest. That's not enough to get rid of a Harpy. That's not really a threat long-term, though. So, return, turn start, increase counter, damage random enemy unit by 2. I mean, this is the other card that has long-term value. We're going to have to eat through some armor to make this happen. But, I think we go for that. Then we do this. And it destroys just about everything, in fact. But by destroying some eggs, we do get some Harpies out here. But I think that is definitely an exchange that we were more willing to make. So we got rid of their rabid forktail, and that was their key card for sure. So let's see. Now the question is, let's see. They've passed. Oh, they've passed. Okay, and we already have the lead, so we definitely pass here and take the round 1 win. Okay, we got Caldwell. That's definitely big. And Silvato, that's also big. Now, let's take a look, because Field Medic is more relevant now that we have cards in our graveyard. It's a random card, right? We don't get to pick. Yeah, it's random. So the luxury that we have here is that after having won round 1, we don't need to win round 2. So we can either do one of two things. We can basically pass immediately, force our opponent to play a card because they need to, otherwise they're just going to immediately lose, and that gives us card advantage for round 3. Or we can play a little bit in round 2 here and basically just force our opponent to use some of their better cards and try to keep pace with us. And that way we're just setting up for a shorter round 3 and trying to save our best cards for round 3, like Otto and Caldwell, and hope that that's enough to take the win in round 3 there. So let's just see. They have what? One... Normally it would say how many cards our opponent has, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they have a full hand. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh. Okay, so they do actually have card advantage here. So I think what we're going to do in that case, we're going to play 2 cards. Because if we get down to 7, remember we draw 3 at the beginning of any round. So that means we'll still get back up to 10, but we don't really want to go all the way in this round because we are at risk of continuing to have 1 card disadvantage for the rest of the game if we do. So in that case, why don't we... Well, let's actually look at what other cards we could have in our hand here. I kind of like the Lyria and Scytheman for just getting as many points as we possibly can, because the damage isn't as relevant now that we've gotten rid of their big engine, so to speak, that Forktail. So, in that case... And Arbalest is still a lot of points. This might be fine as is. Might just keep this. I might just keep this. Okay, so, we go first. And, yeah, there you see, they have 10 cards, we have 9. So, what I'm thinking we do is we go a Scytheman.
This harvest will be
Technically should play them in the
reaping
melee
black
row to
clouds.
set up the Arbalest if we wanted to play it later on. But then we go leader ability here. And what we're also going to do is make this an opportunity to boost heavily a unit that we're going to draw into at the start of round 3. So that could be Wagenberg. That would be nice for the damage if we want to go that route. Or Scytheman if we want to just focus on boosting ourselves. I think Wagenberg is probably still best. That boosts him by 5. So I'm curious to see what our opponent has here. Some more Harpies. Okay. So now, what I'd like to do is basically just play our worst card here. Because, again, we want to get down to 7 cards. That way we'll draw 3. And that's enough to get us back up to the maximum of 10 for round 3. So, thinking Field Medic. I probably would like to save the Scytheman, assuming that we'll have plenty of time to boost them up with our leader ability in round 3. So, but also bear in mind, we do have Reynard. So we want to make sure we save units that have orders. Let's just see if that changes the equation at all. These are all deploy abilities. These are all deploy abilities beside the Regiment Drummer. So that's something we would potentially like to change for round 3, is have more order abilities to have Reynard be a little bit more effective. So let's save the Field Medic for that reason, because we might be able to get back some units that have order abilities, like our other Wagenberg. Or, I mean, light infantry is not really a big deal, but potentially. That would probably be the worst possible outcome for that. So, in that case, I think maybe we do just play another Scytheman.
My spirit's willing and
Okay.
all, but these
So we end our turn
demons
here.
are killing me.
And I will be interested to see... Ooh, they have a normal Forktail. Consume the 3 lowest cards. So they did pass us there. And we learned a little bit more about their decks. They have other Forktails. Consume allies, and because when they consume the Harpy Egg, they create Harpies. That is beneficial to them. They aren't just redistributing points from one unit to the other. So... So the thing we can do here is... we can continue playing and deliberately just force our opponent to keep on playing as well, because they know that if we pass them and win this round, then they lose the match altogether. And that technique is called bleeding. So maybe we do try that. Go another Scytheman here, and use our leader ability to continue to boost the cards in our deck, because that's the real benefit to it, is that we get a ton of additional points for round 3 by just loading up on the boost for the cards in our deck. I think is that not the way our leader really works, right? Strengthen it by 3. Remind me what exactly strengthen does. Increase the base power of a unit. Okay. Like, I thought we did that to the Wagenberg, but I'm not noticing that it looks any higher at the moment, which is a little bit alarming. So not sure if that's actually working or if it only shows it once we actually draw into the card. Makes it a little bit harder to keep track of it, but let's try it. So we go Lyria Incitement,
There's a time to reap,
and then we
time to
do
sow.
our leader ability here. And okay, so see, now it shows up as a 6, but it was a 3 before, so just confusing. But yeah, so let's just make this Wagenburg the top unit on our deck and make it as strong as possible. And now we get lots of boosts here. So now that we have 3 Lyria Incitement out here, every time we use that order ability, we're getting 15 more points, which I'm hoping will be difficult for our opponents to keep pace with. They have just barely managed to do so here. Let's see. So if we were to continue trying to play, then we would what? We would probably... Don't think we want to use order cards, because we want to save those for when we use Reynard, and I think that is still going to be in round 3. Well, it would have been nice if we had actually had Lyria and Incitement next to each other. We could have considered using Caldwell to get even more of them, so that whenever we use our leader ability, it gets even more of a boost. But in the absence of that, I suppose we just go with an Arbalest here. And I think with 4 damage, we just destroy this Harpy. Alright, and they're going to continue consuming stuff. 20 and more Harpies. That was not a very good turn on our part. Wasn't worth a lot of points because we did not use our leader ability. So they are keeping pace slash overtaking us here, but I think we should still be relatively okay as long as we continue to use our leader ability aggressively here. And we're planning for a short round 3. So let's carry on here, I think. And this time, if we go with the Lyria and Arbalest here, we're technically going to have overkill damage. And it's probably still best in the Harpy, because this is damaging for 4. This would be damaging for what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -2, 3. So it's slightly worse. But if we do this, and then if we go leader ability, bear in mind, the Arbalists do have a loyal ability as well. They will damage the nearest enemy by 2. I don't know how it's going to prioritize between the Forktail and the Harpy Egg, because they're both in the same row. Is it like read from left to right? Is it these guys are further on the right and this card is further on the right, so it's going to choose the Harpy Egg? It's just going to be random. I don't know, but we're going to try. We're going to see. So again, I'm going to charge up that Wagenburg. Okay, so it was random. So we didn't want to hit that Harpy Egg because it was going to spawn in a Harpy. But in all likelihood, they're going to end up consuming it anyway with... Oh, well, no, they're going to play another Harpy. Okay, so this is interesting. This is interesting. So I'm thinking this is probably where we end our round 2, because we still have the lead. So that means that we only have 4 cards remaining. They have 5, but they will need to play at least 1 more card. Otherwise, we will just win this round and therefore win the game. So we've at least forced them back to being on even cards with us. All the while, we've also set up a big Wagenburg that, at least when we look at our deck, doesn't look all that big, but it's at, I think in truth, something like 12 at the moment. I'll tell you the truth, if we keep on playing here, we could continue to abuse our leader ability and use that to take the win as well. That is perhaps a possibility. If we were to go that route, I think we'd probably go with the Field Medic, and, well, let's save that just in case. Let's pass. So I'm assuming they will be able to overtake us here with 1 more card. Solano Harpy. Transform some cards, yes. So they have overtaken us here, but that was basically the plan. Was just force them to play 1 more card. Okay, so we get our big Wagenburg. So that's the card that we were setting up. Then we have Count Caldwell. I think it's another one that we drew into. Oh no, we already had him, right? We got a Drummer and an Arbalest and the Wagenburg. Those are the 3 new ones. The Drummer is nice because that gives us the ability to get more units out here, and that can power up the Wagenburg even more. So that's definitely good, and we'll use the Field Medic for that same purpose. And we just want to be mindful of positioning our cards so that we can create additional copies with Count Caldwell, as long as we have additional copies of stuffs in our deck. We do for the Regiment Drummer, we do for the Field Medic. We don't for, we do one for an Arbalest as well. So we just want to make sure we aren't trying to, say, double up on drummers or something like that. So, okay. I think this works. I think this works fine. Alright, so they're going first. They spawn a Harpy egg. And so what do we want to lead off with? I think the answer is definitely this Wagenberg. And so now we can use our leader ability, and if we do, then it is mostly to set up the card that we are going to bring out using our regiment drummer. And so which card do we particularly want in that case? I'm thinking it might be another field medic to just maximize the number of units out there. Alternatively, you could go Lyria and Scytheman to get more boosts whenever we use our leader ability. That's also a decent play. Let's go with the field medic though, because I think ultimately prioritizing the Wagenberg might be the way to go, and this is the best way to do that. Oh, technically looking at our deck. Okay, that's nope. There we go. Now we're activating it. Now we're talking. So yeah, we go field medic. Okay, and so this is the one that's gonna start damaging us, right? Damage random enemy unit by 2. Okay, so good thing that we did make the Wagenberg more powerful, otherwise it could have gotten destroyed. But now let's go with, I think we do the field medic to bring something else out here. Now, suppose there's a decent chance it might end up being an Arbalest, in which case there aren't too many units out there, so it's not going to be that strong. But on the other hand, it could also be another Wagenberg, in which case we want to get out there as early as possible, so that they can get boosted, or get the armor, and therefore more damage whenever we play future units. So, let's try it. Fingers crossed here. Ooh, it's a war wagon, giving us a lot more units. So I like that a lot. And if the random damage does happen to hit light infantry, then that will deal 5 more damage, which could also be quite useful. And it does just that. And it hits the Slizzard. Ooh, and they consume. Okay, let's see here. So now, I don't think we have any war wagons remaining in our deck. No, we don't. So we don't want to play Caldwell next to that. Nor do we want to play... Actually, we don't want to play him next to any of these guys. So let's make sure we have enough time to make the regiment drummers do their thing. So let's play you here.
Army's a waste of time for me.
Powers up the Wagenberg. And let's see, we do have leader ability as well. So let's do that. And once again, we can make a point of powering up the card that we want to get out of this. And we were saying perhaps field medic. So that's going to be the setup for this regiment drummer. Oh, what is this? Griffin. Move a random enemy to the row opposite this unit and damage all enemies on it by 1. Okay, so you didn't actually move anything, but you did do a lot of damage. Or at least, what, 3 damage? That's not that bad, but he did reduce the armor on the Wagenberg, which is unfortunate. So I think now what we do is, why don't we play you,
Left,
same row,
right, left,
then
right.
Let's activate this regiment drummer. Okay. Oh, the medic is not a blitz unit. Ah, so that was silly, boosting that one up. That was a mistake, for sure. But we do still have the Arbalest here, and we have at least loaded up on this row, getting a lot of units down here. This should be decent damage. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so with that, we can... probably looking to hit one of the big units here. But it is going to be somewhat mitigated by all the armor. I think we just deal with that. Are you doing anything long-term? Neither of you are. So let's just go here and do that. Okay, and we're doing it again. Okay, now bear in mind, we also want to be very mindful of our placement here, so that we have the ability to set up Caldwell. In fact, we are running out of time to make that happen. So, I think we need to use the regiment drummer to move a card that we have an additional copy of to the top of our deck. I think it has to be a Scytheman in that case. So we go leader ability, Scytheman, and then we do this. Get a Scytheman out there, and we need to have it next to another one of the drummers or arbalists, I think, were the other things that we have remaining in our deck here.
Aye.
Okay. Oh, that's not actually the card that we played on our turn. That's just from this order ability. So, from here, I'm thinking we probably want to go either one of our big guys, Otto or Caldwell. I think we go Caldwell first. And let's go here.
Time I taught you some respect.
So, Scytheman, let's see. How many cards do we have in this row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're running out of space here. So, let's make sure we have room for that Arbalist to still go there. And then, similarly, let's put the Regiment Drummer back here.
Again.
Okay, what does this do? Boost self by the number of other units in the row, and damage an enemy by the same amount. Okay, so unfortunately you did hit the Wagenberg, but I think here what we need to do is let's use basically all of our orders, and then we'll play Auto, and then we'll finish with the Arbalist in this row here. So we go here, and we damage all of you. Then we go Regiment Drummer to get a Pikeman. And in doing so, that should bring out our other Pikeman.
Again.
And then we play Auto. Will allow us to
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
reuse all these orders. There actually isn't any armor on the Wagenberg, so it's not terribly relevant in that case. We actually don't have any Blitz units left? Oh, wow. Okay, so maybe not the most relevant of autos, as it turns out. But we have a very large lead here. Okay, again, the damage and whatnot. But let's go leader ability. And, I mean, I guess we can get more units out here. And I believe... Oh, well, that's the one that we tried to boost a bazillion times, but of course we can't really get it out, because it's not a blitz unit. But anyways, we finish with this. And this should be 9 damage, I believe, which means we might as well hit you. And then we can also do this. And in doing so, win by a lot. So not so bad after all. And let's see, nothing, no special messages or anything from that. Perhaps just a random encounter of sorts. Truly random. Ooh, except what is this? Letter and key found. Fortune smiles upon us. Those priestesses bought my story, blubbering and all. They accepted me as a pupil, but getting me hands on the cellar keys was the tricky part. Still, I've gotten it now too. They've riches stacked to the ceiling. Gods be praised indeed. Wait for me tomorrow night at the foot of the embankment at the south wall. I'll carry what I can manage. P.S. Keep an eye out. Probably just a wives' tale, but I got word some nastiness has taken root in the wood. Is that supposed to be a reference to the forktail that we just fought? Not entirely sure, but let's nab this. And nab this. And where exactly will that key unlock stuff? I mean, it says in the priestess's temple. Is that maybe an area that we would not have been able to access otherwise? But now we can? Because we got that? I don't know. Let's take a quick look here. Perhaps, even after we made the priestesses mad at us, we may still be able to find a way to get steal a little more gold from them. I mean, let's be honest, it would also be stealing. Where would be the entrance to this place, though? Basement? I'm not entirely sure. Initially, I thought it was going to be back here somewhere. So, perhaps not. Go up the little ladder. No, I don't think we go upstairs. Can't go up the stairs. Is there entry room over here? Somewhere else? Do we currently know of where this place is, or have we not yet discovered it? I don't know. But either way, I think this is probably a good place for us to wrap up here, and a big fight for sure. One of the few battles we've encountered, after seemingly going for puzzle after puzzle, but good to see that even with the more standard rules, we can still come out with a convincing win. So with that, I'll catch you next time.